What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Hobart Brickies pregame show. I'm Jordan Chantos,
And I'm Isaiah Gransberry.
and it's sectional championship week. All right, so Hobart coming off a huge win against Gary Westside last week, winning 70-0. Heads into this week against Lowell, the Red Devils, for the sectional championship. Two powerhouses going head-to-head.
We have to mention last week's game against Westside. 21-0 all time, but 70-0. I'm pretty sure that's the biggest margin of victory we've ever had over the Cougars since we've started playing them. It was 63-0 at halftime, and special props goes out to Josh Tejeda, who had 2 defensive touchdowns in that game. The Hobart defense, man, those guys are scary, and I'm looking forward to watching them this week.
Yeah, for sure. It just shows how dominant Hobart's been this whole season. Like we mentioned on the Golf Plus Sports Show, with a win in the regional championship, so they have to win this sectional championship, and then the next game, they'll be the winningest four-year class in Hobart history outside of the Howell era. So that's a very impressive stat, considering how good those teams were in the Howell era. It just shows how dominant these seniors have been since day one.
Being a Hobart Bricky football player is very important to the community. As we know, we graduated there ourselves, and we know that Hobart is going to rally behind their team. They were one game short of putting that fifth pillar finally at the Brickyard Stadium, and I think they have a pretty good shot to do it again this year, but first they have to get past a tough Lowell Red Devils team.
Lowell, best 4-6 team in the area, most likely. They had to forfeit those 5 games due to using an ineligible player because of academic reasons. But Hobart's defense going up against Lowell's offense, it's going to be quite the battle.
Yeah, Lowell and Hobart is always a classic football game. Usually played on grass, but we get another treat of them playing each other on turf again, which will be able to expose a lot of the athleticism of both teams, both sides. But I think Hobart is really looking forward to getting a really good challenge this week from another team. So we can look for their defense to just really put the hammer down.
Yeah, I kind of compare Hobart's defense to the Chicago Bears defense. They step up in big times, make big plays, and they really help their team out.
Yeah. The only difference is the offense performs too. Putting up over 120 points so far in the tournament and not giving up a single point, you got to look at both sides of the ball. That's 2 games, and that's a lot of points being scored. So we look forward to seeing the high-powered Hobart offense get back at it this week.
And it's going to be a great game because this is Hobart's really true first test in all the playoffs. They played below average teams, but Lowell is definitely going to give them a tough outing. I don't see a 70-0 blowout against Lowell. I do see Hobart coming out and getting a victory and going to another regional championship.
Yeah, it'll be back-to-back years, and like 3 times in the last 4 years, I believe, that Hobart's made it that far. So Coach Osika's doing a really great job with those guys over there. And like you said, it's going to be a classic game. Hobart's depth might be a little deeper, but nevertheless, it will go 4 quarters of really hard-nosed football this whole game.
For sure, and you can see Hobart's improvement all year. From the first week all the way until now, the offense has been improving, the defense has been improving, even special teams too. All around, they're getting better, and it's showing.
And you could see that with Josh Tejeda. He wasn't a starter at the beginning of the year, and he worked his way up. So that shows you that from top to bottom, the guys are working to become better football players and to make an impact on the field on Friday nights.
Yeah, I would say he's the epitome of the team. Small players that weren't starting at the beginning of the year, working their way up the lineup to become big impact players. So that really helps them out as well because they're adding that depth, like you said. So final score predictions for this week's Hobart against Lowell. What do you think?
Man, this is going to be a tough one. I'm thinking 17-14 as the final score.
It's going to be a close one. You think a field goal?
Yes, I think a field goal is going to be the difference.
I'm going to be on the sideline. I'm going to be taking some videos and pictures, so we'll be posting those. I think the game is going to be close as well. I think it's going to be a little bit wider margin. I think it's going to be 24-17 Hobart. And I think their offense, they're really going to focus on that this week. Their defense already got it locked in, but I think their offense is going to really step up in a big way this week.
Well, yeah, it's going to be a great game. I'm looking forward to the highlights. The live stream of the game will be broadcasted for those who we failed to update last week, but we'll get the live stream updated and posted on our page
for you all to enjoy. That about does it for this week's edition of the Hobart Brickies pregame show. We'll see you next week on the Golf Plus Sports Show to give our analysis of the Hobart game, Bears game, and all sports from the past week. Hopefully we'll see you next week for another edition of the Hobart Brickies pregame show for regionals as well. And we'll see you next time.